Hey guys, welcome back to Golden Reviewer. So here I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, iPhone 13 and S21 Ultra. And today we are going to compare the 4K 30 FPS video recording capabilities on these three devices. Okay, let's go. Okay guys, so first thing I want to make clear is that I know that putting the iPhone 13 at the middle of this rack gives it some advantages, but we have no choice. I have to do this like this, so just bear with me. And currently we are recording on the main lens at 4K 30. I'm doing 4K 30, not 4K 60, is because none of these devices support switching the camera while recording 4K 60. So apparently that doesn't make sense. I don't want to stop every time I want to switch camera and restart, right? It's just a overall bad experience. So currently I'm recording with the main lens, and I'm just walking around normal speed, and you can have a feeling of the color, exposure, clarity, and stabilization as well. Okay, and let's switch to the ultra wide. What do you think? Now we are recording on ultra wide, and how is the video quality of this? Honestly, I can't really tell a difference from the viewfinder, except that the sky looks a little bit more punchy on the two iPhones, but I think that's more like a personal preference thing. If we head towards the brighter skies, you can check the dynamic range of these devices. It seems that the iPhone has a little bit advantage here. Just look at the sky, I think it's a little bit less overexposed on the iPhone. Okay, and now let's switch back to the main lens and let's test the stabilization. So here I'll run for a little bit and see which one is more stable. Okay. Alright, so that's about the stabilization, and let's also test the stabilization on ultra wide. Okay, I'll run and let's take a look. Alright, so I can't really tell the difference from the viewfinder, but you may let me know which one you think is better down in the comments. Okay, and right, so now we are recording from ultra wide, and let's try with some zoom. No zoom lens on the iPhone 13, but we can do digital zoom up to 3x. 3x. So now we are recording 3x on all these three devices. I think the quality is pretty similar for the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the S21 Ultra, and both of which are much better than the iPhone 13. Right? This is just a hardware thing and you can't really help. Okay, but then on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, you can do digital zoom up to 9x. And you do see that the quality suffers because this is all digital zoom. Well, on the S21 Ultra, you just switch to that periscope lens and you are doing optical 10x zoom, and the quality is just amazing. Okay, and on the S21 Ultra, you are actually allowed to zoom to 20 times, and it's still quite manageable, I would say. You can just read the small text on the faraway cars. This is amazing. Let's switch back to 3x, for which all of them are supported, and let's walk a little bit with 3x and see how it goes. Okay, to my eyes, it seems the iPhone 13 is actually a little bit more stable. That's because it's doing digital zoom, I believe. It's more difficult to actually stabilize an optical 3x lens, right? And to my eyes, both the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the S21 Ultra are pretty shaky when you are working on the 3x. And to be honest, this is expected, and I think I'm not complaining too much about this. Okay, back to 1x. And okay, so I think in this scene I see some pretty apparent color difference, and to be honest, the color on the S21 Ultra is better, right? Currently it's almost 6 p.m. here, and you can expect that it should be of a warm hue, right? But on the iPhone it's just too cold. And now it starts to change, right? You see? So that's a problem with the iPhone. The white balance is just not that consistent. Okay? See. And let's try ultra wide again. And facing the sun, I think slightly better dynamic range on the iPhone. And the main lens, yes, I think it's better on the iPhone.
3 iPhones?
Right, yeah, 3 iPhones. Actually, no, 2 iPhones. So, yeah, guys, so now it's night time and it's pretty dark here. It's still the same 3 phones: iPhone 13 Pro Max, iPhone 13, and S21 Ultra. And let's compare the low light 4K video performance of these devices. Okay, so now I'm holding these 3 devices on the same rack, and I'm recording 4K 30 FPS from the main lens. Okay, so now I'm not moving, so let's just take a quick look at this image quality. Let me pan a little bit. Yeah, I think the first thing that is very noticeable is that Samsung is brighter, but it has more noise. The 2 iPhones, they are darker, but I think they produce a cleaner footage. Okay, now let's walk a little bit and see which one has better stabilization. Usually in low light, I think the iPhone should have better stabilization. Let's just see how it goes. And actually, let me just run a little bit and make it more difficult for them. Yep, I think I can even tell in the viewfinder that the 2 iPhones produce a sharper image while I'm moving at low light. Okay, so here is more apparent, right? The Samsung is apparently brighter but more noisy. Okay, let's switch to the ultra wide. And I think the Samsung is also brighter using ultra wide as well. And to be honest, the iPhones are a little bit too dark for my liking, right? You can't really see much. On the Samsung, you can still see a bit of everything, although it's very noisy. But at least you can see something. So, but I guess this is more like a personal preference. Now let me walk a little bit and maybe run to see how the stabilization goes. Yep, so that's with the ultra wide, and I think it becomes more apparent as you go to darker places, right? You can still see the trees, you can still see some details of the cars on the Samsung, but it's almost pitch black to my eyes here in the viewfinder in the iPhone. It's too dark. Okay, now back to mainland, and yeah, Samsung is also brighter. So I think you can't really say which is better, which is worse here, right? They just have different approaches to exposure. Samsung wants you to see more at the expense of noise, while iPhone try to keep ISO low. But here is what iPhone wins, the dynamic range. Just look at the distant tennis court. You can see that the iPhone properly exposes everything. Well, it's all overexposed on Samsung. Right. So here, iPhone definitely wins for this. It's the smart HDR for video, which is still the best on any smartphone, hands down. Right. And actually, let's try a little bit of zoom here, since we have this tennis court and people are actually playing tennis, which is nice. Oh, sorry, it's badminton. Okay, it's badminton, not tennis. So currently, we are trying to record from the 3x lens. Apparently, on the iPhone 13, you don't have a zoom lens, so it's just digital zoom, and the quality is not that great. On the iPhone 13 Pro Max, to be honest, I can't really tell whether it's a digital zoom or it's an optical zoom. It looks actually pretty similar to the 13, but it's quite apparent that on the Samsung, this is optical zoom, right? It's just overall much sharper. And let's try to see if Samsung will be able to use that 10x lens. And we can also digitally zoom to 9x on the iPhone. And to be honest, I think Samsung is indeed using the 10x lens. And everything is just much sharper. And this is great. I mean, for zoom, you have the hardware, then you can do better. There is no way around this. It's just a pure hardware difference. Okay, actually, if we look at this very dark area but with light, you can see that Samsung overexposed the light. Just look at the doorway. It's completely overexposed. Although you can argue that the shadows are also brighter, so you can see more details, but I really don't like this completely overexposed bright areas. While on the two iPhones, they look pretty nice. Everything is well under control and you don't really see any overexposure. This is nice. Yep. Okay. Let's move a little bit. One thing I noticed, right, is that iPhone is really pretty aggressive with white balance correction. Remember this tennis court? It was yellow, right? All the lights are yellow, and it's pretty accurate on Samsung. But on the iPhone, as I walk closer, it tries to correct everything to make it white, while it's not actually white. And this overcorrection actually makes all the lights in the background blue, which looks very weird to me. Just notice all the lights, those are blue in the background. But on the Samsung, yellow is yellow, white is white, which is pretty nice. On the iPhone, yellow becomes white and the white becomes blue. I think this is a problem. I really hope that Apple put in some effort to fix this. And just like the Samsung being overexposed and very noisy, they both have their own problems, and I really hope that they'll work to fix these. Okay, so yep, guess that's all for our low light comparison. Oh yeah, and this, if you have a super bright light source in your frame, the Samsung will just have more lens flare than the iPhone, and this is also a hardware thing. Samsung has been troubled with this problem for years, and they are not going to fix it. I don't know why. The iPhone doesn't have this issue. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I think this is the low light comparison. To sum it up, I think all these devices are pretty similar in daylight. While the Samsung is better at zooming and more stable while you are running, but the iPhone has slightly better dynamic range. But when it comes to low light, I do prefer the approach of iPhone here. It's less noisy, has better stabilization, and it can control the highlights much better. But still, the S21 Ultra is able to produce a brighter footage, and also wins the zoom department. So it all depends on your preference. Don't choose the device that the reviewers tell you is the best. Choose the device that fits you the most. Okay guys, so thanks for watching and see you next time.